right, so now I'm sitting on my front porch drinking some coffee. But what you were seeing in that video is drone footage from the start of my ride from here in Tuxedo all the way to Nags Head. I have a buddy and he was having a bachelor's party and it was on Nags Head, and I kind of looked at the time. It was like 7.5 hours driving. I knew that I would have to take my bike with me if I wanted to keep training. And it sounded really unappealing to take my bike with me and worry about waking up early or missing time hanging out with them while I was trying to hang out and not have to worry about anything. So then I got to think about it and I was like, well, why don't I just ride my bike to Nags Head? And that's essentially how the idea for this ride was born, is I didn't want to have to ride my bike while I was hanging out. So I started planning a route, and that's kind of what happened. It ended up being 5 days total. It was 30.5 hours of riding and 546 miles. But this video is going to be centered around day one, which is Tuxedo to Davidson. So I was kind of riding and like hanging out with friends and family along the way. And I have a cousin who lives in Davidson. And so kind of when I was planning the route, I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute, I know like people that are across North Carolina. Why don't I take advantage of that and get to see some of those folks? So yeah, that's the premise of this video, is just day one of my Tuxedo to Nags Head trip. And I do plan on making a few of these videos, so you'll have to hopefully subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing it. And I'm happy to answer any questions about planning something like this that you can leave a comment. But yeah, let's just go ahead, and from here we're going to jump right into footage from day one. So I made it to the North Carolina, South Carolina state line. Got old Matthew with me for a little bit. And yeah, oh, I'm gonna fall over. Got all my baggage here, and it's cold. It's actually really cold. But yeah, so far so good. Things are going all right, and I better go catch Matthew. I don't know how far I am into this ride, but not far at all. So just left the house a little while ago, but here we go. All right, so stopped on the side of the road to pee, but this is the bike. So I got a big bag on the back, and so this one is kind of all of my normal clothing, so like pants, shirts, underwear, jacket, all that. These are my shoes, extra food, and then up here, this is all of my cycling clothing. So kind of put the lighter stuff on front, and got a little duck for some company. My sister-in-law gave me that. And then of course got a light, computer. My backlight is struggling a little bit. And then in here, this is like my flat kit and like phone charger, GoPro batteries, like accessories, and then a mask in there, and then of course water bottles. But yeah, I'm doing good so far, so I'm gonna keep rolling. Just rolled through Tryon, and now I'm in truly uncharted territory. I have no idea where I am from here, but Matthew peeled off. He's gonna go back up to Brevard, but it's good to have him with me for a little bit. And yeah, now it's just me. On a bit of a hill, so I figured I'd pull out the GoPro and do some updating. I don't know how far I've gone. So one of my tricks is, when I do long rides, is I tend to not look at the distance. So I can always be pleasantly surprised with how little I have to go. But yeah, so far so good. Roads have been beautiful with hardly any cars. There's been very little traffic, and it's warmed up, so that's really nice. Got some surprisingly good temperatures. I've only been chased by 2 dogs So yeah, so far really nice. I have no idea what it means, but a little while ago I rode by the 1989 Little Miss Chesney's house. So I think I'm in Chesney. Might still be in South Carolina. I went to North Carolina, back into South Carolina, and now I don't know. Alright, so I made it to Shelby, North Carolina, and I'm at Jimmy John's. So I'm eating my sandwich, got some chips, cookie, and I got a huge pickle. And so I feel pretty good, and I still haven't checked my mileage, so I'm gonna do that now, actually. So this is typically what I look at over the course of a ride, is I kind of just focus on the like route, and then of course look at heart rate and I look at power, but I try not to look at distance and time, because I kind of like to surprise myself when I look at the distance and I'm like, oh, like I can't believe I've been that far. I don't have far to go. I do know I'm over halfway though, because I get text messages and my wife is like tracking me on this ride through my Wahoo, and she texted me at some point like just before I got to Shelby, and she was like, oh, like you're over halfway. So I know that I'm at least at mile 70, but I don't know for sure. So I'm gonna go page, okay. Okay, yeah, so I'm 4 hours, 52 minutes in and 82 miles. So that leaves me with, you know, like 50 miles to go, which is really not that bad. I feel reasonably good about that, especially once I get this sandwich down. Of course, my average power, super low. Average watts is 156, normalized power is 185 right now, and average heart rate is 139. So I've definitely been riding not super hard on like the flats and downhills, of course trying to conserve any energy. And it says I burned 2,745 calories. I know I've eaten, I think 5 bars since I've been riding, so that's about 1,000 calories. This large cherry Coke is gonna be quite a few calories replenished, the cookie, the sandwich, all that. So yeah, I think I'm in a good place, like nutrition wise. And so I feel, yeah, relatively good about all that. There's the bike back there. Bike's doing really good. I'm honestly really surprised at how balanced it feels, like the bag on the front and back. I thought at first like riding out of the saddle on a climb was kind of weird, but now it feels really normal. I'm still like a little like nervous, like going really fast on like downhills. The bike does not like to stop because it's so weighted down. And yeah, but other than that, I'm really like pleasantly surprised with how well it's going so far. So yeah, whew, 50 more miles. So I'm gonna finish my food and then get back on the road. One of the coolest things about this ride so far is just getting to see places I've never heard of. I've never been to Cherryville, North Carolina. I've never heard of Cherryville, North Carolina. So it's really cool to get to ride through like these tiny towns. Remind me a lot of like where I grew up, just kind of small town North Carolina, and yeah, it's really cool. So here we are in Cherryville. All right, so I'm at 141.2 miles. I still have a little to go. I had a slight navigational error when I was planning my route, and so it cost me a little time, but we're back on track. All right, So I know the video kind of ends abruptly. There was no conclusion there, but I did make it to Davidson. I think the total time was like 8 hours and 14 minutes, and it was 143 miles. So a little bit longer than I anticipated with that slight navigational error. Somehow when I was planning around Strava, I put the pin in the wrong place. And when I got there, I was like, wait, this is not not where my cousin lives. So I was about like, I think like 6 or 7 miles kind of out of my way to then make it back to his house. But wasn't the end of the world. It was pretty good. But yeah, once I got there, I didn't really feel like filming. I was there to hang out with them and see them. So I didn't really get the GoPro out and record anything. But yeah, that was day one, and so I did make it. And so my next big thing was waking up the next day, and day two is Davidson to Winston-Salem, where my brother lives. And so you'll have to check back and see the next episode in this little series where I combine days 2 and 3 together. But that is what's up next. And don't forget, if you have any questions about this style of riding or kind of anything I was doing along the trip, you can leave a comment and I will do my best to answer that. But until next time, we'll see you later.